Hey everybody, welcome back to BFD. Today, BFD stands for boy, few, deaf. I couldn't think of one. I'm sorry, guys. That's right, it's another movie review, and this time we're reviewing A Quiet Place, Day 1. Let me get right off the bat. We got 2 movies in a row that BFD kind of liked. What? What is this? What is this? Yeah, I thought this movie was pretty good. It wasn't great. It comes nowhere close to the first one, and it's kind of on par with the second one, but in its kind of mediocre qualities, and I'll get into that in a second. But overall, if you're wanting to have a good time, kind of, then yeah, go and see this movie. I think that's fine. Or you can save your money and wait for Maxine, which comes out next week, which we're all really excited about here.
But not in a creepy way.
So yeah, let me get through the good first, the parts that I think most people will appreciate, and then we'll get into what didn't really work with the film. Firstly, the performances. The performances were really good here. Nobody stands out as being like a really terrible actor, like the boy kid in the first and second movie. He only does 2 emotions. Those entire movies. I just watched them this week. He only does 2 emotions. One of them is, and the other one is. That's it. That's all he does. I don't mean to shit on the actor. I'm just saying that like he was a standout, and not in a good way in those movies. But here, there's not a single one except for the cat. Fuck the cat. I don't like the cat, and I'll get into that in a little bit. It was also really cool to see the scope of this universe. I think it delivers on the promise of the premise, in the sense that you want to see big aliens crash into Earth and then kind of just destroy everything. And you get some few like 9/11 what am I thinking of? Not montages. References. I don't know. I can't think of the word now. If you know the word, comment below. But you get to see the scale of destruction that was only hinted at in the previous 2 movies. And it's pretty satisfying to watch in that sense. It's nothing that hasn't been seen before. When they were blowing up the bridges, I was like, that would have been cool, but The Dark Knight Rises already did it. So, I don't know, but that's just me being a little nitpicky, but it's all fine. It's all good. Oh boy, that's kind of, I know I said that I like this movie, but that's kind of all I have to say in terms of praise. If we're getting hyper specific, we can say that generally there are a few scenes that are pretty well done. I like the scene in the jazz, whatever it's called, bar, in the jazz bar. That was a nice little human moment, and the film is sprinkled with these human moments throughout that does ground a lot of what's happening in emotion, but it just can't fight its way to the very end. It has the same problem as the second film in that regard. So now that I gave it all the praise that I could think of off the top of my head, let's get into what didn't work. First off, the cinematography here, fine. The lighting, however, is nowhere near where the lighting was in the first 2 films. The amount of contrast in those first 2 movies is excellent. Even on the outside scenes, the use of shadows, it's just done so well. Everything here is so flat. And if I had to guess, it's because there's a lot of CGI in this one. There is a lot of CGI, especially just replacing backgrounds and stuff like that. If I had to guess, I'm assuming they didn't, blow up New York City yet. But because of this, a lot of the visual element that was so striking to me in the first 2 is really missing here. And that's a shame, because those movies look really good, and here is just, it doesn't even feel like it's the same universe just in terms of its look. And I understand that when you're outside in a cloudy environment, like a lot of the film is, you can't always do that. I get that. But even when we're inside in the dark with just a single flashlight shining the scene, everything is still lit pretty evenly in terms of its contrast between its highest light value and its darkest or lowest darkest value, whatever I'm trying to say. And again, as a person who appreciates a lot of contrast in his lighting in films, as you can tell by my setup here, which is so full of contrast, I understand the irony there, but it's missing in that element. I'd also have to say that the plotting is a bit odd here. I like the story. I like the idea that the main character is dying, and all she wants is just basically go through this last moment that she had that reminds her of her father, all the reasons she enjoyed living before she had her diagnosis and before he had his diagnosis. And then there's just a guy that's kind of tagging along, and he's learning to become a bit more brave, and he kind of lives for her. This is all fine. That's a great idea for the premise of the film, and it has the potential to be very emotional as well. But the problem with the plotting that I have here is there's a lot of things that happen that don't come back later. The most blaring example of this is when the guy is getting the medicine for the main character, and then he comes back, and then the cat's like, I'm gonna go eat some stuff over here. And he's like, I'm gonna go get the cat. And he crawls in and sees like a nest of eggs that the aliens hatched, maybe? I don't know. And they eat it. I thought little baby aliens were gonna pop out, but then they just eat it. And I don't know what the hell that's about, because nothing happens. He's like, oh, there's an alien up at head level. Oh, but they don't hear me breathing, even though they're able to hear things like, hundreds of yards away. Can't hear me breathing right next to him. Oh, he's right there, and okay, well, he's gone now. And then we just cut. We don't even see how he leaves. We don't get any tension on that. We just cut, he's back. And that never comes back up. The eggs never become part of the plot. I thought, oh, whoa, they're going to use the eggs in some regard to, like, lure them away. Maybe they're really protective of the eggs, and, like, they'll even drown for them or something. I don't know. But, again, never comes back. They're not even baby aliens, so it's not even an explanation of like, oh, these are how these things reproduced, and oh, see, the threat will keep happening. You don't just have to wait for the aliens to die off. So it's like, okay, well, that was a waste of time. And again, that's the most glaring example, but there are a few things along the way that it's like, come on, man, we didn't need that scene. That was kind of pointless. But to round this out, the biggest problem that I have with this film, apart from the fact that its emotional catharsis is just not very emotional at all. The biggest problem that I have is the fucking cat. Now, people who know me might be like, Kyle, you just don't like cats. Well, that's not true. Well, that part kind of is, but that's not the reason that I don't like this cat. It's the same problem that In-Game has, where the entire plot hinges on a stupid rat running across a keyboard and pulling Scott out of the quantum realm. Here, the cat pushes the plot along all the time on accident and acts as almost a spiritual guide that brings these two characters together, which, if that was all the cat did, fine, whatever. It's a little hokey, but, if it's one thing, I'm willing to forget it. But when the cat keeps interacting with the plot in crucial ways, I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Why is the cat used so much to do random shit? Why is the cat always putting the people in danger unnecessarily, and why do they keep going for the fucking cat? All of this would not be nearly as bad if the cat had any sort of emotional tie to the main character, which it does not. The cat finally has an emotional tie from the main character to the guy at the very end, but throughout the entire film we get no reason as to why she wants to save that cat other than the fact that it is a therapy cat. It's the end of the world and that thing's trying to fucking get you killed. At what point do you say, it's not worth it? It's not worth it. I don't need a therapy cat. I'll find another one. Really hoping I didn't peak the mic on that. My blood was boiling every time there was a close-up of the fucking cat. I was so mad every time they did that, because I was like, what the fuck is he gonna do now? And they're just gonna forgive him and never try to leave him. But also he has like supernatural powers where he can always find these people, never makes a sound despite making sounds whenever it's convenient for the plot to make things scary. I do not like this cat at all. I do not like this cat. The reason the first movie works so well, there's a lot of reasons why it works, on a technical level. The writing, I think, is pretty good. A lot of people are saying that it's bad from what I've read, and I don't get that. I mean, I think it's pretty well written. Like, yeah, there's plot holes, like you could never fart in this universe. Okay, well, you know, nobody ever farts in the movies, so they don't ever use it, so let's just not worry about that right now, you know? Like, just don't rip a fat one, you're gonna be fine. But the reason that first movie works so well is because it has such a strong emotional catharsis at the end, because the whole film is building up to John Krasinski saying, "I love you, I have always loved you," to his daughter. That's what the whole film is about. Everything else that's happening in terms of horror and the technicality is just pushing to that moment. And that's why the film works so well. We don't have something like that here because there's not really anything that the character wants in this film. Yeah, like they want to get a piece of pizza, and really what that's masking is that they want to have a memory or something before they die. Maybe that can work, but here it's nothing tangible. There's nothing to actually get, you know? There's not, I want my father to not blame me for my brother's death. There's nothing quite as strong as that in this film, and that's ultimately where it sort of fails for me. Yes, there are plotting issues and there's the fucking cat, but you know, at the end of the day, that's not as big of a deal as not affecting me emotionally. Okay, if you can't do that in your film in which you are trying to affect someone emotionally, then it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And that's sad because, like I said, I really liked the first movie. The second one was fine, whatever. But I had high hopes for this one, but I don't know, it was weird. I didn't even realize that John the man Krasinski, didn't direct this, and it looked like it was like a different producing like company. I don't know. Somebody might have to fact check me on that, but I was like, oh, that's weird. Why are different people making this? So I don't know what that's about. But anyways, let me know what you think about this movie. Is this a film that's worth it? Is this a movie where you're like, oh man, I'm so glad I went and saw that in theaters? Or is this more of a movie where it's like, you know, I'm not really feeling it. If I hadn't seen this in the theaters, I would be okay. If I watched it at home, I'd probably be on my phone. Because let's be honest, if you watch a movie at home, you're on your phone for at least 30% of the time. Which is why, please, for the love of God, don't watch movies at home for the first time, please. Or just put your phone in a different room, please. This has been a PSA from the buddies with film degrees. But hey, that's all I got in me right now. I gotta go to bed because it's a bit late. Like I said, let me know what you think in the comments below. Oh my gosh, my rating. I have to give it a rating. Let's just say 5 out of 10. You know, it's adequate. It's fine. Okay. Hey, check out our other movie reviews that we have on the channel. Go watch our video essays that we've made. Both myself and Jake have made plenty that you can go check out. Not a lot of people watch the Planet of the Apes video essays, just like not a lot of people have watched those movies. And that's fine. But if you haven't seen those, go give them a watch. I think they're pretty good. I'm pretty proud of those, and I'd appreciate that. But anyways, I've been Kyle, and I still am, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!